Alright, what's up guys? I'm going to do a video on my HK45 CT, or Compact Tactical. This one came with two 10-round mags. I had to buy this mag aftermarket. Cost me 40 bucks. Wasn't the whole $80 like people say. No, it's about half that. But this was the pinky extension one, which I didn't want for concealed carry. I don't need it. So I was looking around for the base plates, and they're almost impossible to find for some reason. Really don't know what's up with that. But HK Parts has been out of stock for like 2 months now. They sell the magazines that come with that base plate, but they want about 80 bucks for it. And I'm like, no, it's not gonna happen. If you go to a local store and look around, you can find them all day long for about 40 bucks. So what I ended up doing is I just dremeled and cut off the bottom. Doesn't look pretty, but it feels good, and it's obviously gotten rid of that extra 1/4 of an inch, and it conceals much better now. And it's not really that big a deal because this one at least was the rubberized version, so it was basically just rubber added on the bottom of it. So it wasn't hard to cut through. I just took a knife through it and then took a Dremel to kind of smooth it out a little bit. If you have a plastic one where everything's plastic, that one might be harder. I mean, you could still cut it off, saw it off or something, and take a Dremel and finish it off. But if you want this and you're like me and you can't find a flat base plate, just, if you have a rubber one, just cut it off like I did. Just be careful. You can see here, my camera will focus, this little line right here. If you look, you can see the line where you have the plastic up top, that's the normal base plate, and then everything underneath is rubber. So just cut along that line as close as you can. I didn't get all of it. The bottom is still pretty much rubber, but you can kind of see it there too. Just don't dig into the plastic, because that's the part that matters, that keeps the magazine working and in place. But cutting all that rubber off isn't going to change anything. Anyway, took me a while to make a video on this. I mean, I've had this gun for probably about a month and a half now. I've been carrying it. However, I've been carrying it in a Safariland GLS holster, which is a terrible idea for concealment. It just sticks the gun way out there. So I wanted to wait to do a video until I got this guy right here, an inside the waistband holster. This is a Compact Infidel Max, or Infidel Ultra Max. It's made for the P30, the P30L, the HK45, and the HK45C. It's a hybrid holster. Pretty comfortable. I'm not real happy with this clip. I just think it's kind of a poor design. It's kind of flimsy. Doesn't seem like it holds on that well, and it sticks out kind of far. And I've had this piece print more than the gun, so it's not real bad. I mean, this doesn't look like a gun when it prints. It looks like I have like maybe a cell phone holder or something, so there's really nothing wrong with that. But I wanted to talk about comfort and how well it conceals. And guys, for a 45, this is an awesome concealment gun right here. I mean, they do make smaller ones. I mean, you got the Shield, but those guns get so small to where it's like I don't ever want to go shoot them. I'm not comfortable to go shoot these things because they're just so small. They're usually not very manageable at all, and they're just not comfortable. This gun right here, see, fits my hand perfectly. I have medium to large hands, somewhere in between there, and you can see it just fits perfectly. I mean, you can't even see it from the other side, but it fits perfectly. And going off of memory of my Glock 19 I had briefly, it feels roughly the same size. The grip on this feels smaller. I think overall height, this might be a little taller than a Glock because the higher bore axis. But in the grip, when I'm actually grabbing it, this feels shorter, and this is perfect. I also believe the slide length is longer than a Glock 19, which I prefer. This gun's accuracy is phenomenal. I mean, it blew me away. The first time I shot it, I was nailing every single little target that I was aiming at. It was ridiculous. And the trigger, HK gets a lot of hate for their triggers, and I don't really understand why. It's just, they're decent triggers. They're not match grade, even though they might call them match grade. I wouldn't call them match grade. I mean, it's nowhere near like my 1911 trigger. And the VP9 trigger overall is better, but you can't really compare striker fire to hammer fired. But compared to my SIG 226 that I had, this trigger is much better than that SIG. That SIG was a mushy trigger, and it just didn't feel good. It wasn't a crisp trigger, really. Now, I didn't have an SRT trigger. It's just the basic trigger. That could be why. But I like this trigger much more. Gun's very accurate, like I said. This one came with suppressor sights, which I do really like, although I'm kind of deciding whether or not I want to keep them, just because the rear sight prints a little bit, because I mean, you can see there, it just pokes out right there. So I'm still trying to decide on that. What else? Magazine capacity, if you don't already know, this mag will hold 8 rounds plus 1 for a total of 9. That's how I carry it. And then I usually carry an extra mag on me for a total of 19 rounds, because these are 10 rounders. These are not hard to conceal. I just throw this in my left pocket, and I got 19 rounds. I would like to try a double mag carrier, carry 2 10-rounders. Now I got 29 rounds of 45. Definitely, I think, overkill, but I kind of want to try it to see if it'll even out the weight, because you got the weight of the gun and an 8-round mag on this side. And I think having 2 10-round mags might kind of even out the weight a little bit and just feel a little bit better. So I'm going to give that a try. If not, I'll just continue to carry 1 10-rounder. Only issue I have with this gun, I'm trying to find a light that I like to fit on here. And basically, the only 2 I've narrowed it down to that I think are basically worth a shit is the Streamlight TLR7 and the Crimson Trace Railmaster Pro. Railmaster Pro I really like, except for 2 things. One, the mounting system seems a little weak to me. It seems like they could have done a much better job at designing that. Shouldn't really be an issue. And the other thing is the light is only 100 lumens. It's one of those tiny little LED lights. And while I looked at it in the store and it was pretty bright, I could tell right away that it wouldn't have any distance to it at all. Which, this is a gun I take with me camping up in the mountains and stuff, so I want that distance. And that's something the Crimson Trace isn't going to offer. The Streamlight only has one drawback in my opinion. Well, I guess 2. One, I have to modify the little rail keys to fit backwards, basically, because, see, this is the last slot. They could have put another one in here. They didn't. I'm sure HK has their reasons. But, so I'd have to modify it to fit backwards or get a custom 3D printed one, which, in my opinion, that's not really that big a deal. My main thing is, I think it looks goofy. Those TLR7s were basically designed to fit on Glocks, and everything else was an afterthought. You look at them on Glocks, and they line up perfectly with the trigger guard because they kind of curve in like this, so the TLR7 curves out, and it fits in that little curved on the Glock trigger guard. On the HK, it's slanted back, so you end up having this weird gap down here where it fits flush up here, and then it comes straight down, and you have this weird little gap, and it just looks so stupid to me. I'm sure I'll get over it, and hopefully they'll put out the toggle switches similar to the rest of their lights, and that would probably fix my problems, because then it would come around the trigger guard and make it easier to reach. But I'll probably end up going with that, because I mean 500 lumens, it's got quite a bit of throw on it, so probably end up doing that. But guys, if you're in the market for a compact 45 for concealed carry, definitely check this guy out. I think this is the ultimate handgun right here. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the 1911. really am. I'm a huge fan of the 45. But this guy right here, this will do everything I ask of it. It'll make a great home defense weapon. It'd make a great combat handgun if for whatever weird reason that will never happen, I'd be in combat. Throw these guys in there, and 11 rounds of 45 is more than enough for me. Very comfortable, very shootable, very concealable while still being able to handle like a full-sized handgun. Definitely, highly, highly recommend this gun over just about anything. Obviously, if you don't like hammer-fired guns, this may not be for you, although I would still recommend you check it out. But I really think this is the best handgun on the market, I think. It's my personal opinion, but I think this is a very underrated gun. By the way, it does have back straps that are replaceable. No side straps or anything, just back straps. But yeah guys, definitely check out the HK45 Compact.